everybody. I'm Noel Quintana. I'm the artistic director and the founder for Noel Quintana's Latin Crew. On October 16th of this year, we will be marking our 20th year in the business of making people dance. I've performed for many years with artists like Tito Puente, Aretha Franklin, Ismael Miranda, so many artists. So last year I had the opportunity to release my first album, and I invited many of the top salsa singers in the business like Tito Allen, Choco Horta, and I'm really proud of this production, and thanks to all the generous support from all the people here in the area, we are now working on Volume 2. The next big project we have, we're performing in the area, and then we're going on a little tour. We're going back home to New York City. Then I come back to Pittsburgh. Then I'm heading out to Chicago to play at a big festival in Chicago. And then we come back to Pittsburgh, and then we are going on the road to Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm really excited to be part of this little mini tour or whatever you want to call it, but I'm having a blast. I cannot wait. I started studying the instrument at the age of 19 years old. A neighbor of mine introduced me to a gentleman by the name of Luis Romero. His nickname is Timbalito. He's most known for being the timbale player for the Willie Colon Hector Lavoe Orchestra. So if you pick up all those old albums, Che Che Colé, Abuelita, Todo Tiene Su Final, you will see Luis Romero's name on the credits. So I studied with him for about 2 years. Then he relocated to the San Francisco Bay Area. He's made the Bay Area his home since the 80s. But before he left, he introduced me to a wonderful percussionist. He's been gone a few years now. Also last name Romero, but no relation. Little Ray Romero from Ponce, Puerto Rico. So I had the honor and privilege of studying with him for over 7 years, as well as a gentleman by the name of Pedro Fernandez from Havana, Cuba. So I credit these three gentlemen for my upbringing in the music. So in my career, I always had a day job. You know, Latino performers, we're not like American performers. I'm not gonna mention any names, but there are times when I mention this one performer, American performer, just as an example. I won't mention his name here, but I've said, what the biggest waste of clothing, this guy. He's a good looking boy, but he's got all this talent, but he doesn't know how to conduct himself as a gentleman. And I kind of feel like some of them are just, the stuff is just handed to them. And the Latino performer, we're everything. We work at Walmart, we work at McDonald's, we work at corporate America, we're Uber drivers, you know, we're housekeepers. And then in the evening, you have a little gig, you get dressed, you put on your uniform, and you go and you make people dance. And then they forget about their problems for those couple of minutes. And what I usually tell those performers, you gotta have talent, yes. And you've gotta be marketable, yes. And you gotta make the people that are hiring you, they gotta make the money, we get that. But you also, you gotta, it's a lot of hard work, you gotta work hard at it, and you can't give up, and no matter what, and you just gotta keep going forward. Eventually you'll get to that point where you say, you know what? I'm pretty good at this, and I think I am going to be doing this full time. Well, Pittsburgh, I always say, is a great city for Latinos to live in. It is very spread apart. So every once in a while I run into somebody and they'll look at me and say, "Speak Spanish?" And I go, "Yeah, I speak Spanish." And then we start talking. There was a lady who started to cry because she thought she was the only Spanish-speaking person in the area. So I gave her my card, and she looked me up on YouTube, and she was so happy, gave me a big hug. I went through that with another lady from my hometown, and she lived in El Barrio. It's an older lady. So she moved here because she said New York is just unaffordable. And Pittsburgh is very affordable. The lady was so happy and gave me a hug. A little old lady gave me a hug, and she knew everyone that I knew. And we both were, you know, exchanging stories, and she was saying, "Yeah, I have so much for my money here, and you know, I can't go back. I go back for visits, but this is the place. This here, you in Pittsburgh, if you know how to do your stuff right, you can live like a king or a queen." I'm Noel Quintana, and I'm proud to be a Pittsburgh Latino. Toma!